Hey, what's going on? It's James here. How are you? Hopefully you're doing amazing. In this video, I want to go over how to choose the right company to work with, because I know that can be very difficult, right? Because when you start interviewing for different companies, they're going to promise you the world, right? And I promise you that. They're going to tell you, hey, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to generate leads for you. You know, you don't have to knock on doors ever again. You know, we'll put leads in your calendar and you just close them. That sounds great, right? But it doesn't ever happen that way. So just a heads up, right? Because a solar company is going to promise you the world as far as lead generation. And that's the way they hook a lot of people to join their organization, because they're going to feed you leads, right? And then after 2 or 3 weeks of not getting any leads, guess what they're going to tell you to do? They're going to tell you to go knock on some doors, right? So just be aware that coming into this industry, no matter how great the solar company is, you have to be able to generate your own leads, right? And just because a solar company is telling you, hey, you know, we're going to generate leads for you, you never have to, you know, find leads ever again, don't count on it, right? So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is make sure the solar company has been in business for at least 5 years, because there's so many solar companies popping up left and right. So make sure the company that you're looking to work with has at least 5 years in the books, because there's so many pop-up solar companies closing down left and right. And guess what? Once you close 2, 3, 4 deals with a lot of newer solar companies, they may not pay you, right? And don't get me wrong, there's amazing new solar companies out there, but that's the risks you got to take, right? They may offer you a better commission than everybody else, but are they going to actually pay you? So make sure that the company that you're looking to work with has been in business for at least 5 years. Tip number 3, make sure that the company that you're looking to work with has good Yelp and, you know, Better Business Bureau reviews, right? And even Google reviews, because you're going to use that to your advantage with your homeowner, because other companies can use that to your disadvantage, right? Especially if your company has really bad ratings, because I can tear other companies apart or my competitors apart just because they have really poor reviews on Yelp or even Google or even the Better Business Bureau. So make sure, to your advantage, make sure that the company that you're working with has good reviews. Tip number 4, make sure the company that you're working with as well can sell in multiple states, because you don't want to be tied down just in one local area. So make sure that the company you're working with is selling in various states, because the homeowners that you speak with may not have a lead in your local market, but guess what? They may have a friend or family member that lives in other states. So make sure that the solar company that you're working with actually sells in other states as well. Tip number 5, make sure that the solar company that you're looking to work with allows you to sell deals online, because some solar companies' business models, they only want you to sell via face-to-face. Obviously, because of the coronavirus, you may be forced to sell deals online or whatnot, but make sure that they also allow you to sell deals online all the time rather than just during this pandemic, because that's going to be the best way for you to close deals and have freedom instead of driving, you know, 2 hours or 3 hours out of your day to close deals, right? So make sure that the solar company that you're working with allows you to close deals via online as well. So finally, tip number 6 is know your commission structure. I can't stress this enough, because I speak to, I want to say, over a couple hundred consultants every single month. And I always ask them, hey, how much do you get paid? What does your compensation look like? What is your price per watt? And they can't answer that simple question, because I know it can be a little bit tricky, especially when you're starting out on how to understand the commission structure. And I totally understand that. But before you interview for a solar company, make sure whether or not they're going to pay you commission. If they are, what is that, you know, kilowatt rate, right? How much are they going to pay you per kilowatt? Ideally, you want to get paid about $1,000 a kilowatt or $1 a watt. That would be the most ideal situation. Or the company may pay you a commission plus, you know, a small salary, right? But my suggestion to you is to go straight commission. That's my suggestion, because that's the way you're gonna get paid the highest commission possible. And ideally, you should be making at least $1,000 a kilowatt or $1 a watt, right? Keep that in mind when you're interviewing, because if they tell you, hey, I'm gonna pay you $250 a kilowatt, or $300 a kilowatt, that's in the lower end of the commission structure. So again, you need to understand how the company's gonna pay you, right? Because ideally, you should know the compensation structure like the palm of your hand. But unfortunately, because the commission structure is a little bit different in the solar industry, and I know it could be a little bit tricky to understand, but you really need to understand the commission structure, because there's so many solar consultants out there that's underpaid because they don't quite understand the commission structure. So again, especially if you're just starting out in the industry and you're watching this video, make sure that you know the commission structure like the palm of your hand. And ideally, you should be getting paid close to $1,000 per kilowatt or $1 per watt. And again, even if they give you a residual, aspect or a residual kicker to your commission, or they give you a salary plus a commission, I wouldn't take it, right? I want to go straight commission, pay me $1,000 a kilowatt or $1 a watt, because that's going to be the best way for you to earn income in this industry. And if you want to dive in deeper, you have more questions, especially if you're new in the industry or you want to get in the industry and you want to know how to get $1 a watt, make sure you book your solar strategy call. It's going to be a pop-up somewhere around this video. Book your call, and I would love to speak to you and dive in more detail with you to help you and point you in the right direction. But before you take off, make sure you click the subscribe button and also the like button, right? So this video gets shared to all of our solar family. Other than that, have an amazing day. Peace.